we're live here for the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center. We're going to wait a little bit here for some folks to join, and then we'll get started shortly.
Hola a todos, vamos en vivo para el Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center. Vamos a esperar unos minutitos para ver quién se quiere comunicar con nosotros, mirarnos. Hola.
And we'll have some ambient noise because we're outside of my casita, so cars are passing and birds are singing and plantitas are growing. But for those of you who are here with us, welcome. Gracias por estar. We're just waiting a little bit for some folks to join. Andamos. I hope everyone's doing well. You can leave comments. I'd ask, actually right now, just to make sure that you can hear us okay. If you can, let us know. Somebody send me a little word saying that.
Sí, no, más loud. All I hear is cars.
We're also not the most tech savvy people, so vamos a tratar de hacer esto sin problemas.
Hello again. We are joining you as representing the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center. Vamos a esperar a few minutes. Hola, hola, Richard. To have people join us. But if you cannot hear us, let us know, por favor.
Richard Diaz, how's it going? Gracias por saludar.
Hola, hola.
Yeah?
Sí.
Okay. So, hola, hi, welcome. My name is Nicolas Valdez, and
I am Maria Ibarra.
we are this year's Grupo Animo instructors. Maria and I actually have both been working as the Grupo instructors for the past 4 years now, and have continued to try to build this program up. We want to talk a little bit about the history of Grupo Animo, and then a little bit about our process. Wait for the bus. A little bit about our process and what we try to gain. The product is only a very small part of what we do in Grupo Animo, so we want to talk a little bit more about our process and those kinds of things.
And if you have never heard of Grupo Animo, it is a youth theater group, or teatro group. We like to call it teatro because what we do is very rooted in teatro. And it is a free program that the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center is offering for youth, 13 through 18-year-olds. And obviously, because of our current state of the pandemic, we will be doing this year's class via Zoom classes. So si tienes un hijo, una hija, if you yourself are a youth, are bored, have nothing to do, or have some creative talent, please join us.
Yeah, this provides a really unique opportunity this year to bring in students from basically anywhere. The whole online platform, gives us a chance to work with students. I think we do have one student registered already that's from Houston. And so if you're watching from another part of the country and you're available, go on to the Guadalupe Cultural Arts website. There's more information there, and you can register for classes there. And also, if you get a chance, subscribe to the YouTube page. There's other videos that the Guadalupe has done similar to these talking about some of their programs and whatnot. But our classes don't start until next Monday, this coming Monday, the 7th, I believe. And so we have a few days to, if you're interested, please sign up.
It's super easy to sign up. Again, go through the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center website. Also, this is also available through the City of San Antonio and the Office of Cultural Arts and Affairs. There's a grant available for them. We have some returning students, and we're excited about that. So again, inviten a todos sus hijos. If you're a teacher and you have a student out there, you'll help us fill our class.
So again, my name is Nicolas. I like to consider myself a product of the Guadalupe's programming. So I got started, my introduction with the Guadalupe came actually because of my father in particular. My family was involved at the center during the early days. And so as a youth, I was running around and kind of becoming familiar with the space. But when I was 9, I started taking their conjunto music classes, and I started taking lessons on the accordion. This was sort of my first introduction into performing arts, and it was a pretty intimidating process. But after a few years, Jorge Pina, who is at Guadalupe now, at the time was also the theater director, was just getting this program off of the ground. And he had actually been asking me to join for several months, and I was really hesitant because I had never really done theater before. I didn't have any idea what to expect. And there was already a group that had come together from some of the big theater productions that the Guadalupe was producing at the time. So there was already a handful of youth actors that were sort of part of the company when Jorge had the idea of putting all of these students together and started a program specifically for youth. So I joined when I was 13. I was the youngest member, and I was the last of that original group to actually join. I came in halfway through the summer, and at that time, there was enough programming and funding and going on that the program lasted almost the whole summer, 2 months, and we would have guest directors come in and help us create our own work. I have to say that it changed my life. And once I joined Grupo Animo and really understood just how unique of an opportunity it was for adults to give us the space to tell our own stories in our own voice and have that be supported with professional theater resources. And so we were able to create our own scripts and write little vignettes and then produce the work every year with a different guest director. And in the process, really exploring and discovering our own cultural identities, our hybridity, of course, as being, primarily Americanos living here in this area of the world, close to the border, this ni de acá kind of experience. And we were able to vocalize a lot of these things. And then also, this was 92, I think 93 was our first official summer. So we were in the throes of our teen angst and listening to a lot of, the music and the vibe of the whole early mid-90s scene was definitely something that we were incorporating into our productions. I lasted as a Grupo Animo member through my senior year. I did, I didn't do the fourth final year, but I did 3 consistent years as a Grupo Animo member. And that relationship of those people that we created at that time are still some of my absolute closest friends. Now 25 something odd years later, 27 years later, we still manage to get together. Like during this whole COVID thing, every Friday, we've been having old school Grupo Animo Zoom meetings. And so we all get together, living across the country, can still come together and laugh and feel like we're a part of a community. After I left Grupo Animo, I continued to do theatro and explore work, and that's how Maria and I actually met and formed our relationship with the company that we kind of co-founded, helped start, and continue to do productions. And then through those experiences as well, Maria started and I started teaching through other areas around the city, and then we're invited back to come and do some stuff at Grupo Animo, which we've been doing consistently for the past few years. So Maria and I have a really beautiful relationship. We've managed to um, um, continue to work and build a community and build a repertoire of work over the years. So we've toured and produced things around the country. And it's always a real pleasure for me every time I have an opportunity to work with her. So I'll let Maria talk a little bit about her own experience with Grupo.
So I was a teenager when I first heard of Grupo. I was a teen who my friend was in Grupo Animo, trying to convince me to join Grupo Animo, which unfortunately I didn't, and only because I was involved with another theater company at the moment, which was a whole different onda, but it was still sort of like community theater, educational type theater, but not Chicano-based roots. And although I'm like, you can go back and you see like, if only, I think it's so interesting, like Nicolas is saying, I am still connected to like all the OG Grupo Animo members. They are some of my closest friends. We've performed together, but I did, as a teenager, I was in the audience, seeing their performances and, thinking like, this is awesome. Like a whole other aspect of teatro, right? That wasn't introduced to me because at school it's a little bit different, right? It's theater and it's a little bit different. But when I graduated, or I was a senior in college, there was an internship program through the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center to work with Grupo Animo as a stage manager. And Jorge Piña actually hired me to be their intern, and I was a stage manager at the time for Grupo Animo. At that point, they had Topo as the director of Grupo Animo, and I got to work with him, and I was backstage, just kind of stage managing, and also always putting my 2 cents in, and always, just trying to put my 2 cents in, and at that point, I think Jorge Piña kind of noticed that I had not only like this passion for like just stage managing, but with working with youth and directing. And so he offered, at that point, they had started a Discover Animo class, which was like the teeny weenies, we used to call them, right? Los más chiquitos. So it was a younger age-based Grupo or Discover Animo class, which was ages 8 through 12, because Grupo Animo has always been 13 through 18. And I taught Discover Animo for several years, and then eventually ended up moving to Grupo Animo, which I co-taught for a little bit. No sé con quién empecé for a little while. It was also Maricela Barrera. And then at one point, when Maricela was going to have her daughter, I stepped in as the Grupo Animo director, and then I continued to teach for several years until, for a minute, Grupo Animo came to a halt. And it's been, like Nicolas said, the last, I think we've taught for the last 4 years, but prior to that, maybe it was 2 years before that, that Grupo Animo, we started to bring it back. And so it's one of my favorite projects to do. It's different, and like Nicolas is saying, we work specifically with youth, and really all the work is created and centered around what is concerning to them, what is concerning to the community, what is happening in the world. And yes, we do a lot of acting exercises and all of that, but we also just dialogue a lot. So a lot of, conversaciones, a lot of hard conversations, a lot of, open conversations, a lot of playing and creating together and bringing whatever you have to the table. So, Nicolas, obviously is a musician, so, you probably brought that and used that. I know you did during Grupo, ¿verdad? We've had dancers who, have, performed dance pieces, kiddos now who are total tech savvy, who have designed videos for us, y de todo un poco. Last year we had a couple of youngsters who were part of a mariachi group, and so they sang. So we always incorporate the talents that the youth have, and we, as the Grupo Animo really directors, we're just really here to guide the process. But it's an awesome program. So, like we're saying, si tienen un hijo, a daughter, you know somebody who is super shy or super talented or has nothing else to do, join us at the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center. Again, it is a free youth group, and that is hard to come by anytime. We hope you join us. Also, you can subscribe to the Guadalupe YouTube channel to get more information on other of their classes that are available because they are very well-rounded. There's, dance, mariachi, all these other classes that are available through the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center.
Yeah, and I want to give a little credit to the Texas Commission of the Arts that gave us the grant to do this year. I understand that our application this year for the grant, the TCA grant that provided the funds for this, was one of the top scoring grants that they received this year. So that's actually a really big win and a big honor for the Guadalupe. And a little credit to Maria and I for having continued to build this program now over the past couple of years. I want to take a moment and just recognize, so we have a couple little messages here. Anita says that her daughter will be ready in a few years. She's 11. We're really excited to meet her. Rhonda D says, I miss my hometown. My best teachers, life mentors were Chicano artists that came from there. And I remember the beginnings of the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center. So beautiful to see this. And, the Guadalupe, through all its ups and downs over the years, continues to be a home for artists here in San Antonio, and specifically for Chicano artists and Chicano and indigenous voices. And so all of your support, and every time that you talk about the Guadalupe, every little donation, all of that, goes to extending the life and the quality of programming that we can provide. Richard Diaz says, absolutely, I missed the Guadalupe in San Antonio. Some great years doing puppetry and theater craft there. It's obviously going to be a challenge this year doing this for the first time online. We're going to work through it and hopefully everyone will rise to the challenge as we all are trying to do during these times. Now I don't want to assume that all of our audience here understands the difference between theater and teatro. I know that Jorge in the last video last week kind of talked a little bit more about some of that, but theater, Western typical theater, is what you learn basically in school. And that the Guadalupe, provides a place for us to continue this legacy of Chicano theater, which is rooted, came out of the Chicano movement of the 60s and 70s. That was really sort of founded by Luis Valdez and Teatro Campesino, and having learned some of those exercises from his time at the San Francisco Mime Troupe. So it's very agitprop theater. It's very a theater that talks about social, political, cultural issues that are relevant to our communities. It's often a little bit in terms of rascuache, but very like homemade, very resourceful theater, utilizing whatever it is that you have around you. And it doesn't, form to all the same theater rules, and it gives us the flexibility to be able to incorporate other mediums and other forms of expression. And so we'll talk a little bit about our process in Grupo Animo. For us, it really always begins with a discussion. We can map out, the weeks, and we can talk about this is how we want to make things happen. But the content and the discussions are all driven by the things that are important to the groups that we're working with. We really try to create a safe space, a space where everyone is respectful of each other's opinions, and that we're allowed to be a little bit vulnerable and talk about difficult things. That space is not always provided to us culturally within our families and within our cultural spaces, often not in school and other institutions. So, we try to operate in a place where students can feel confident to discuss some of the things that they may not feel otherwise in other spaces. That's really the jumping off point. Then once we can identify the things that that are important to them, and obviously right now there's a wealth of things I think that we can talk about. Then we guide that process. We guide those ideas and inform, whether it's little actos, whether it's personal monologues or poetry, and then again, like Maria was saying, to incorporate all of the talents that people bring. So whether they're dancers or video editors or musicians, we find a way to try to incorporate all of those elements and weave together something that in the end we have no idea what it's going to be, quite honestly. And that's part of the beauty of this process, is that it's very guided by the kids themselves.
But also, if you, I also want to say, I'm also a teacher, like in the regular public school system, and so don't let what we just said scare you off.
Yeah.
Right? It's still acting, still theater, but it's really creating your own work. Especially as people of color in the theater world, at least here in San Antonio and probably elsewhere, sometimes if that is what your profession, what you want that to be, it's sometimes very difficult to find roles that are honorable for you to play. And so one of the things that I love about Grupo Animo is that we also incorporate and teach students how to create that work for themselves, right? So how to be self-sufficient as artists. And like, just like Nicolas and a lot of the ex-Grupo Animo members who are still somehow rooted in the arts, they are still creating or working for the arts somehow, and even if they're not, they are still community members of the arts, or supporters, ¿verdad? Of the center, So I also wanted, que no se asusten, when you hear like teatro or discussion, all that. Actually, it's like an open invitation for you to have more of this creative, personal dialogue, and also, to create work that is really important to us and really to you. So it's, like I said, it's one of my favorite projects. I love Grupo Animo. I love working with the youth of Grupo Animo because I learn so much from them every year.
I feel like the other word that really helps describe teatro is a sense of urgency. There's a reason for the work that we're doing, and it's not sort of just theater for theater's sake. We're trying to say something. We're trying to encourage the students to find a voice to say something, especially right now in these times where the things are up in the air, right? And our future is obviously going to be determined by this next generation. We want to prepare this next generation to be able to have the confidence to say the things that are important to them. I want to remind everyone that we can take some questions if you have any questions for us. And let's go ahead and, because I think we've done pretty good here on time. We wanted to share a little piece with y'all. What we're going to do here is one of Maria's works that we utilized in a performance that we did together, and I'm going to accompany her with a little bit of accordion. This is actually pieces that we created after our children, and so the piece that I'm going to play on the accordion is for my daughter Azucena, and let Maria.
And the piece that I'm going to read is for my son Solstice, which they are also Grupo Animo members, or the ex-Grupo Animo members. And they just celebrated birthdays, so shout out to our, to Solstice and Azucena, and and so this is a little piece that we're going to share with you. La luz del sol en el solsticio de verano es eterna. El día es tan largo que parece no terminar. Día acalorado y pintado color realidad. Claro, tan claro como un sueño que se recuerda a una eternidad. Sueño eterno, hijo mío. La tierra y el cielo me dijeron tu nombre. El día en que el mundo me habló de ti, el sol estaba inmenso, anaranjado, colorado, redondo, redondo y rojo, rojo como un comal en el fuego. Rojo, anaranjado, como la yema de huevo de rancho a punto de reventar. Rojo, como el color de cobre de tu cabello. Rojo, como el color del clima en tu piel. Como el color con que tú pintas, color corazón. Rojo, rojo, como la sangre viva que nos conecta. Hijo mío, ese día el sol y la tierra fueron espectaculares. Ese día el sol y la tierra me hablaron de ti, porque así tú lo quisiste. Y cuando escuché tu nombre, Solstice, me lo suspiró el viento, lo pisé en la tierra, lo olí en las flores, lo sentí en mi cuerpo, quemando mi piel bañada en lágrimas alegres, porque me lo dijo el sol. Gracias again, there's Maria Ibarra.
Nicolás.
We are Grupo Animo instructors. We invite you to join us. If you have youth, ages 13 through 18, join us for Grupo Animo. It starts this Monday. The classes are free. Register at the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center.
Just real quick before we go, again, because you can't ask us questions here before we say goodbye, but I just want to say Richard Diaz, he says, Grupo Animo was a great experience for my daughter as a teen. She thoroughly enjoyed it, and she still talks about it today. She's turning 26. That's how long we've been doing Grupo Animo. Your children need to experience this excellent program. Thank you, Richard.
Gracias,
That's absolutely
Richard.
true. Generations have passed through Grupo Animo. Our children are now moving on into their adult life. They are also Grupo Animo graduates or ex-animales, and we're really excited to continue this program. Please let folks know, share this video, go on to the Guadalupe Culture website, register for classes. Again, you can be anywhere in the country. You get all the information, more details about our class times and everything. We're doing all of this online. So, así va a ser. Muchas gracias.
Gracias. Buenas noches. Thank you for spending a little bit of your evening with us. Cuídense, stay safe y que Dios los bendiga.